YouTube. Hi everyone. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch my other videos. So, today I would like to talk about world history, human knowledge, lost knowledge, censorship, and so on. So, whenever someone makes a video, such as myself, or a podcast, or writes a book, or whatever, you name it, we all have limited knowledge, of course, because we can't know everything that is presently existent on the planet, obviously. So we all have a very limited point of view of life from what we know, from what we've been taught, from our educational system, from what we've learned. So each one of us has something unique and special to contribute to society, but obviously it's very limited. And if you look back in history, well, what is it? The past 5,000 years that we have in books, pretty much, probably less than that, slightly a bit more, but it's not much that we know. We have from the Egyptians, Mesopotamia, the Chinese, up to now. But, there's been cave paintings and art that dates even tens of thousands of years before that. And then, due to carbon dating, we have dinosaurs which were here, tens or hundreds of millions of years back. So, from the present knowledge that we have nowadays, it's so tiny. The amount of information that we have nowadays. And if you were just to put that amount into perspective, if you divide the amount of years that humans have been quote unquote existent on planet Earth, and you divide that by the books we have or the known history we have, it's such a small amount. It's such a tiny percentage of things that we can get our hands on, and much less what we as individuals can learn from that public information that's accessible. So, why do I say public information accessible? And so, obviously, as you know, nowadays, social media sites and Google and so on, they censor what we have on the internet, right? So of the history that has happened in the past, say 5,000 years, books have been burned, um, and there's a lot of things that we don't know about that have happened throughout that time, and in just that tiny amount of time. So it is, or it should at least be everyone's duty to learn more about what surrounds you and how we got to where we are nowadays, how things came to be, and understand that you were only viewing a small, tiny percentage of what's really going on. And obviously, time only moves forward, and the people in power always try to look for ways on how to impose power upon those under them so that their power can continue. And one of the ways that is done is through censorship, right? Through removing important information from the history books or from the internet and so on, so that power can continue on the hands of the few. So, um, it's always important to, as a person, to keep your points of view as broad as possible, to keep an open mind, to never limit yourself as to what you can learn and what is possible to learn, but you don't know exists because information has been censored, right? So it's our duty to always look in, different different websites, different browsers, and so on. Not just focus on Google, not just focus on YouTube, not just focus on Rumble, uh, DuckDuckGo, and so on. But use as many browsers, websites, and so on to learn as much as you can from history itself. And it's very telling. It teaches you a lot about how humans behave in certain circumstances, and how, or what can you predict as a person happens in a certain situation because of how humans behave. I think it's a very important thing. There's uh there's much of history that is obscure to me, um and you can look for it yourself. The years 400 to 1300 to 1400, the Dark Ages, right? There's a lot of things I believe happen, um, which is it's kind of strange because we know very little about those years, in comparison to the rest of the history that we have. So much is known, obviously, after Christopher Columbus came, and the European settlers and so on, and the English came to the U.S. But between that period of 400 to 1400 uh, AC, or after Christ, there's very little information, and if you really look into it, I believe much of that information is censored. Um. Anyways, I'm just making this video, to express this thought that I had of something that I've observed throughout the years. But anyways, like, share, comment, subscribe, comment about what you would like to hear, listen to my other videos, and I'm gonna try to keep expanding on this because obviously this is just a small video, but I'm gonna try to make longer videos to explain, or at least try to find out more about what has happened through these years, as I mentioned, the Dark Ages and so on. But anyways, you guys have a good night. Bye bye.